Peter Hill Explains, where I invite you to join the science teaching conversation with me about making a magnet out of a piece of wire. This is a small lesson, a very quick lesson, which I'll go through, and it has the benefit of teaching about ferromagnetism and domains. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix the description of the activity with theory as I'm talking it through. So you start off with the following materials: a button neodymium magnet, one of those super magnets. Now, be careful, even the little button ones are so tight that they can hurt children's fingers, even the small ones. So, and depending on how small ones is, they're careful not to put in your mouth at all. Now, you have that and a paperclip. Now, the paperclip you unbend. You don't need any pliers to do it. In fact, it's a small, smooth paperclip. The more smooth the paperclip is, the better. And what you will do is you will get the paperclip halfway across, let it attract to the pole. Now, this is a bit of theory. When it's attracted to the pole, because it's a ferromagnet, the actual material is itself magnetic. So the actual metal of your paperclip is magnetic, and that means that it is already a magnet. Even though it's not magnetic itself, it's already a magnet. And what happens is that just the magnet only rotates the magnetic field and just encourages the magnetic field which is attracted to it. So something feels magnetic means that it is, in general, it's ferromagnetic, and you're not making it magnetic, you're actually changing the domain structure on it, such that facing the north pole presented to it, inside your material, the south pole field domains will grow. Now, there's a way of controlling the introduction of the magnetic field to this, such that when it grows and shrinks again, it shrinks but not freely, it shrinks and snags. So I can't think of an example of it. That's, I suppose, coming into my head is shaking mice out of a cage. Some mice can actually occasionally grab and hang on together and form a clump. That's not a really good example, but that just came into my mind. And so a magnetic material is a material which is already a magnet, but it's a random magnet, and the magnet puts order into that random magnet such that it exposes the magnet within it. So a material turns into a magnet and jumps onto it. Now, as you drag it across, if you put it and quickly place it away very quickly and put it up against, say, iron filings or another pin or something like that, it won't be magnetic. But if you drag it slowly across, that method of introduction of the magnetic field is a key thing. And way of doing it, a little bit of a story. When Britain ruled the waves in the 7 Years' War with the French, they had superior magnets. They're making much better compasses, and the French went, "Oh, what's up, baguette? How did they do that?" And they found a magnet factory in London where they were making it upstairs, and there was nothing there. It was just an old man and a magnet, and the old man had a very steady hand, and he was able to make magnets, compasses, by this technique. From a magnet, he would just draw the magnet across and actually do it, and he was just a gifted person doing it. So that was the British technique, and they never told the French. There's all this espionage from France into Britain, trying to work out how they got clocks or how they made their ships were held together and didn't fall apart at sea and all this type of stuff. And it's the mystery, and it's a good story to tell people because they're doing it themselves and they can see it, and they will inevitably try to make a little bit of a better magnet. And hopefully, if you leave students to their own devices, they'll come up with a way of testing who's the best magnet maker. And then you can do the secret weapon, which I have, which is a piece of cloth or a piece of felt. And what that means is that the magnet pulls the tube, the metal to it very smoothly, and you pull it across it. It smoothly pulls across the felt. And the main thing is that point where the magnet engages with your metal, it tends to click it. And in fact, you can actually show it to people. You get a magnetized piece of paper clip, and you just, with your finger, flick it from time to time, and the magnetism will reduce. But in this activity, you can actually increase the magnetism by using a piece of felt, or I suppose tissue is one thing you could use, folded tissue, anything which, the main thing is that it absorbs the movement towards it. You may have other ways of just gently lowering the magnet in so it doesn't repulse and bend against it as much to get it across. And so one method of demagnetizing it is flicking it, a small vibration of it. So what's happening is that these fields are growing, and they grow in such a way that they don't shrink back down to 50-50 north, 50-50 south. It's an important thing to do with a ferromagnet. And of course, there's such things as an anti-ferromagnet, which is a magnetic glass, and a ferrimagnet, which is the nearest neighbour is pointing the opposite direction, but they're of unequal strength going through. But just sorry, going back here, I'm just walking back home at the moment. The final thing that you can do with this particular experiment is, having made the magnet, it's very important to make the magnet and do it, is to have a match. And I think it's the match, the Curie temperature is really low with these things, so you can light a match, heat it up, and the magnetism will go away. And again, the thing to do is have 3 wires of identical magnetism, and you have one person, with that person not measuring, heat it up so they're all made the same way. And you can actually make several at the same time if you know. People don't know how to do that. And they're all pretty much the same strength. So if you get 3 1 paper clips next to each other, you can drag them across at the same time, make 3 at the same time. But one of those you heat with a flame, and you know the number it is, and you get another person to actually test the magnetism without knowing the history of the various ones, which is sort of a scientific method of doing it. So this is why it's best to actually make a couple of magnets identical to each other at the same time and really measure what's going on. And with that you can actually explain what a magnetic material is. A magnetic material, as defined at school, is iron or cobalt or polymanganese, neodymium, the rare earths. But see, the rare earth is gadolinium. There's only one rare earth which is naturally magnetic with domains. It's the rare earth neodymium, and there's also the neodymium. Oh, memory's coming back to me. Great. The neodymium has to be made into a nanomaterial that is ground up into a powder, and it's got to be sintered at heat. And a nanomaterial which is sintered is another word for that is a ceramic. So the neodymium magnets, even though they look silvery, that silver is a coating applied to the magnet. The material itself is black and chips, a bit like your toilet bowl or an old toilet bomb. And so all of those are ferromagnetic, and that is, they are naturally magnets of nature. There's other ones which are crystalline magnetic, like hematite, which is ferro, but the domains are locked in the crystal structure, or lodestones called there. But this in a metal, because it's got metallic bonds, the actual bonds can grow and reduce. Just a final piece of information, the magnets, this is just domain sizes. It's like bubbles in your bubble bath. They, over a period of time, they disperse. It's a bit like bubbles in your popcorn. Over time, they burst, disperse. G'day, mate. They burst and disperse and reduce. So good old magnets reduce in power over time. So I have some favourite. There's a magnetic circuit. Oh, you have magnetic circuits. I have a magnetic circuit Flapjack, which is basically got an on and off switch on your magnet. Just connects your magnet to ferromagnets, which makes a connection with the optical table. And I think I've got those from 30 years ago, and they won't even pick up a button clip now. All the regular ferromagnets decay, whereas your ceramic supermagnets don't decay with time, or don't appreciatively decay with time. And this idea of decaying with time, you really get into it as a magnet, as the it's like the g'day Pino. I'm just I'm doing a international podcast
on what subject?
Making magnets.
Serious? I thought they actually came out of the ground naturally charged. And
the original magnets out of Greece came out that way, but
hang on. If you induce a current in them.
Oh, that's another way of electromagnet. But the way that you make magnets is you get a piece of wire and just drag it across a magnet.
Oh, but aren't you transferring positive ions?
No, you're not transferring positive ions. You'll have to probably listen to the podcast. So magnetic materials like iron, they are magnetic. It is a magnet, except the magnets are north-south. They're all randomly oriented. So a piece of iron is a magnet, except its actual little components, individual crystals or domain areas, are higgledy-piggledy and random, so it doesn't build it up. So what you do is that you get their population to actually all point in the same direction. It's like at a cricket game. Everyone's lounging around drinking, but then if you say over the loudspeaker, everyone shout and put your hands upwards, you'll suddenly see everything pointing up. That's how an actual magnet operates. Yep. And this is actually being recorded live, and you'll go in.
Oh, serious?
And I don't know, there's a few Krauts and Yanks and
that will listen to this.
Yeah, they all listen to it.
Okay.
And so so it's just trying to rehabilitate and get the ability to explain very well. So I'll do that. Is there any the topic you want to give a podcast internationally about? No, that's okay.
Not at the moment.
Just say cheerio to the people overseas.
Cheerio, everybody.
Right. Another podcast, another story comes to a close. It's been a pleasure sharing this moment in time with you. May you discover truly amazing things, understand them, and tell others. Thanks for listening.